no predators in Castlevania.
Not one!
Not one! Not one! Hello everyone, and welcome to our review of Season 4 of Castlevania. Yeah, or as you like to say,
Castlevania.
Yeah, this was Season 4. This is the last story written by Warren Ellis. If they go forward, it's going to be a spin-off, which might take place in the same universe with, like, future Belmonts. But no, this is wrapping everything up, and I'm very happy with the results.
Yeah, I think the fourth
When
season
it comes
was really
to
good.
video game adaptations, this stands proudly as one of the best video game adaptations of all time.
I think the only other... Well, that's a lie. We've seen Sonic and
We've seen
Mortal
Sonic,
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. This is much better
Yeah, I
than
don't think
both
I've
of
seen any
those.
other video game adaptations, but...
Prince of Persia, Resident Evil, like, it's so much better than all that.
just looks over in shame.
Just take my word for it. It's better than the Resident Evil
Okay.
movies.
I've heard they're good up to like the fourth one, and then they're not so great.
Sure. Let's go with that.
I don't know. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think that this was a really, really great adaptation.
So we're going to start with our regular thoughts, and then we're going to get into spoilers as we go
And
on.
even before that, keeping in mind our opinions are going to be a little different because you are actually a longtime fan.
Yeah.
Having played all the video games, really knowing the story inside and out, whereas I've played
Almost all of them.
video
There's two I
game.
haven't played.
Well, I've played one game, and that was after I had already watched the first 3 seasons of Castlevania the show. So my opinions are going to be pretty different than yours. I think we can agree on like really enjoying the series as a whole.
Yes.
But there are some minor details we'll get into later.
Yeah, there are some disagreements.
We had some pretty heated disagreements over.
Yes, we have. But
that's why you're a longtime fan. I am a new fan.
Yeah.
So,
Most of
our
my
opinions are gonna be a
grievances
little
come
different.
from comparing like the lore of the video games
Yeah.
and be like, boy, I wish they went A, but they went B. And that's my problem.
Yeah.
Whereas with this season, I didn't have that much problems. This season, like, really resolved a lot of issues because, like, I'll just say right off the bat, I wasn't the biggest fan of Season 3. I like some aspects, but, like, there was, like, a certain arc where I was just like, we could do without that.
Yeah. I happen to like that arc. That's one of our big disagreements.
But of the whole, I'd say between Season 2 and this season are my favorite because I like the first season, but like it's very obvious, like a pilot, like a little engine that
Testing
could proof
the waters,
of concept.
seeing if there would be a
4
fan
episodes
base.
long.
Yeah.
It doesn't really explore much. It just goes into like Dracula's backstory, Trevor Belmont, the church, and then like the introduction of Alucard.
Yeah.
And that's basically all that Season 1 accomplishes. Whereas Season 2 like goes beyond that.
Yeah, I think Season 2 it started
And
an
Season
actual
3
story.
starts doing its own thing,
Yeah.
which I both like and dislike. Because I'm just like, oh, that's cool. They went this route. And I'm just like, oh, no, don't go that route. No, 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 no,
Please
no, no,
don't.
no, no, no.
Whereas I didn't know the difference.
Exactly.
So I was just like, oh, this is cool. This is fun.
So I was just like, they did Castlevania 3. They'll do Curse of Darkness. Nope.
Wrong. But yeah, as for Season 4, like, we start out with a flashback of, like, 6 weeks ago.
Yes.
And, it goes through some of, like, Trevor and Sypha's
Adventures.
So
fighting
and
different monsters.
That was the first thing you said, is like, oh, we finally got, like, a Castlevania experience. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's kind of what I wanted in Season 3, where they're
this
just
was all
sitting
a
there
Castlevania
talking about their
experience.
experience. And I'm like, you know what
Yeah.
would make this so much better if we saw, like, show,
Yeah.
don't tell.
Yeah.
Like, if these adventures were, like, shown before that conversation, it would mean a lot more to be like, remember that monster and you remember the monster? I just feel like that'd be, a nice touch. But again, I'm just a Castlevania fanatic.
Yeah. Whereas I'm just a casual fan.
Yeah.
You're a fanatic, I'm a fan. Filthy casual.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh.
But,
Hurt me.
yeah, Sypha and Trevor are going on their adventure.
Yeah, so we kind of get to see their banter, which I love them.
Yes.
So much. You guys can
Couples
expect
goals.
Yeah, you guys can expect to see a lot of like Castlevania videos in the future, mainly based off of season 4 here. Yeah. That I really want to work on as like philosophers.
Yeah.
Just because I think it was really, really well written and put together in a way that was something I hadn't seen for a while. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that I want to dive into there that you might not see in this video, but we're going to make some extra videos.
Well, one of the things that you brought to my attention within the first episode is it's a different animation
style.
style.
Yeah. The animation is completely different.
They put so much more into that budget.
Yeah.
And, like, it's definitely for the better.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much more fluid.
I was, like, a little apprehensive when I first saw the characters. Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I like the new animation and, like, their faces. Mm-hmm. But then watching the animation moving forward in an actual animation, not just a still picture, I really, really like the animation and how they did, like, the fight scenes. And I thought
it's
that
a lot more fluid than like the style of the first 3.
Yeah.
Which, going back to the first 3, that's just like a style that I'm just like, okay, that's the style, I guess. Mm-hmm. But like, there's just a lot of like static shots where no one's moving. Yeah. But the story's progressing. I'm just like, I get it. You don't really have much of a budget.
It's limited animation and you know, that's a style for cheap budgets. Yeah. So. But this one, yeah, you're right. You could definitely tell like that they must have had a massive budget increase with the way that the animation and the fluidity. It was really a beautiful, beautiful season.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it looked great.
Content-wise, not so beautiful, but yeah, the animation was stunning.
My favorite arc, and we'll get into this more through spoilers, was my favorite arc in season 3, and that's Isaac.
Yeah.
The Isaac of the game is like goofy, fairly flat, makes for a fun boss fight, and like you can tell the actor's just having a ball, but like there's no character there. There's no interest there.
Yeah,
Isaac is one of the best written
because we'll get into spoilers a little bit later, but for now we're keeping it clean since it is still so new for anyone who hasn't gotten to see it all yet. I think for both of us, was he your favorite character?
Yes.
Because he was definitely one of my favorite characters. I think I have like a top 3 favorite characters.
Yeah, he was my favorite everything in season 3.
He was definitely the one that grew.
Yeah.
Like all of the other characters had their mission. They had like what they needed to do and they were going to go do it. Isaac is one that he actually grew as a character throughout his entire arc.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's one of my favorites, is like we get to see a change in him.
Yeah. Hector was another good story. Like I was on the fence with what was happening in season 3, but now that
you weren't on the fence, you hated it.
I didn't hate it as much as a certain other arc.
So we were watching this season 3 during quarantine when we were in separate homes. So we were video chatting, watching this. And you were just like, they did my boy dirty. You hated it. Don't say you were on the fence. You hated it.
I hated it at first. But now that I understand the execution, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm more on board. I feel like rewatching it. Whereas with Alucard's story, I don't care about rewatching that arc. I don't like it.
Whereas that's a point where we disagree. I happen to really like the direction they took with Alucard, keeping in mind that I don't have anything to compare it to.
Oh yeah, I'm extremely just attached to like the Alucard from the games.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh shit.
Whereas I was like, it's not that bad. It's fine.
They Luke Skywalkered him.
Oh.
Which is just.
Oh no.
But everyone's still doing a great performance. You got Richard Armitage returning as Trevor Belmont. Malcolm McDowell plays a character called Varney. And oh my God.
I enjoyed him.
I went through the 5 stages of grief with Varney.
Yeah. It was funny because we watched probably 2 episodes and then took a
break to reflect on our thoughts.
Took a 15-minute break and then watched 2 more. Like, we binge watched it in one day.
Yes.
But we did definitely take some breaks between each episode, and you did not like him. And I was like, I don't know, I think it's kind of funny. But
what really bothered me is just like he had more screen time than Carmilla. And I was wondering why. Because Carmilla, as cool as she is when she finally does shit, she is a fucking, like, boasting,
Yeah.
Just like hypocrite. Because all throughout season 2, she was like, all these men are doing is brooding and no one's getting shit done.
And then all she does is
get
brood.
shit done. Whereas all she does in seasons 3 and 4 is make maps and plan. And she never does anything.
Yeah.
I like Isaac, not just for his character, but because he is one of the few characters in the series that does shit.
His plan.
He has a plan, he executes, which I'm just like, oh my God.
So, and Carmilla is one that, again, I plan on making a separate video for. A little nervous about it, but a little bit of insights onto my personal opinion on Carmilla and her interest in current political climates. So, but I didn't really like Carmilla. I was kind of glad for her storyline the way that it happened.
That she got cut off before she could do anything interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was a really nice, not necessarily a foil, but like a nice reflection to Isaac. So where you see someone that says, this is what I want to do, this is what we're going to do, and then actually execute it himself.
Yes.
And then you have Carmilla, who the entire time we see her, she's like, you know, these men can't do anything. I'm going to get it all done. And then what does she do? She doesn't do anything, but she sends people out to do it for her.
Exactly.
So it's like seeing that there's a really nice reflection between the two characters there of one that is successful and one that is not successful. And the path that they take in their own development.
Well,
so
they come from similar origins. They were wronged and they came from vengeance and they came to a different resolution. Yeah. Which we're going to transition into spoilers.
Some spoilers here.
But before that, we'll just say that, like, if you are a fan of seasons 1 through 3, you'll love season 4. This is a beautiful ending to the series. So I highly recommend you go check it out. Then get back here because we're going to talk about spoilers. Because holy shit.
I mean, it's so hard not to. It really is. But in the beginning, when we start out with Sypha and Trevor, I think one of my favorite quotes is when they're in the carriage and she's like, how did we get here? And Trevor is essentially saying, because we were living your life and now we're living mine.
Yep.
So, and even not as a Castlevania fan, my entire body just went, oh shit, like, because I know that who the Belmonts are, what their mission is. So like my brain just went, shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah. Trevor himself goes through such a wonderful arc throughout the entire series. Not as good as Isaac, but I really like how, like,
he grows up.
His line that everyone remembers from, like, season 1 to where it's like a YouTube video. And season 2 is, I don't care. I don't care. He does not say, I don't care, I don't think once in season 4.
You see him grow to actually care.
Yes.
You know, before he
cares like, so much, but he doesn't want to show it. Like, I was rewatching the scene in season 1 where, like, he protects the speaker, and he just goes, just keep walking. No, don't care. And then, like, they're about to kill him, and he whips off the finger because he's just like, oh, God.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that it's really nice to see him grow as a character because he is the main character and you really want to root for the main character.
Yeah.
So it's not as much fun to watch if you don't like the character or that character doesn't change at all.
Yeah.
And you think they don't care, so you're just gonna be like, well, I don't care. Like you secretly do, but to see him kind of grow and also just grow up. And I do enjoy that they changed a lot of like his mannerisms into something that's more adult. So instead of like, as funny as it is, him like drinking the beer and like the stupid stuff that he would say that offends Sypha, like it's funny to watch those scenes, but to see him grow up out of that behavior and for him to actually care.
Yes.
You know, I think that that's
I love seeing really him geek out when he like finds like a weapon of his ancestors.
And he's like, oh, look at this. And he's just super excited.
This is from the great Indian. And he just goes off on a tangent.
And then you see Sypha that's just like, come on, we have shit to do.
Yeah.
And Sypha, her growth.
Oh my God. She is
one of my favorite characters.
The best representation of like an OP magic user.
Yeah. She is one of my favorite characters. I think that she's a great representation of a magic user and also just a character that's also a romantic interest.
Okay.
That she's not the damsel in distress, but she's also not like, I don't need you. Like,
yeah,
they work together.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that their relationship between Sypha and Trevor is so good.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
It's a beautiful dynamic.
Just because it all flows well together. Mm-hmm. When you're done farting around over there, I don't know who's teaching you these words. Like, just them together, you see Sypha grow from almost like an innocent, naive child into someone who's like, she's done. She is done with Trevor's shit, but she loves him like no other. But she is also not afraid to tell him the way it is.
Well, there's also a reason why she's getting at Trevor. You did this to me. You're the cause of all this.
I know. We find out at the end that Sypha is pregnant.
Yeah.
And that's why she's having these like wicked mood swings all through the show, and she's just always yelling at Trevor.
And like she yells at Trevor, and a monster interrupts her, so she like nukes them in one blast. It's like, I'm talking here. So like she's dangerous, but she's also pregnant, so she's twice as dangerous.
Yeah. And she, like, honestly, her character, I love that she's super powerful, but she also still needs help.
Yes.
She's not so powerful that it's like, all right, why does anyone else
It's not
exist?
the Sypha show.
Right. So, and I love the dynamic when two characters need to work together. They can do it on their own. Yeah. They shouldn't do it on their own. It is too much for one person.
Yeah. So there's a nice
but
dynamic
it's
there.
Also, Sypha is never only trying to protect Trevor, and Trevor is never only trying to protect her. They have each other's back, and they fight side by side. Yeah. And like when one sees the other one needs help, they help them. Yep. But I don't hate the dynamic of stories where it's like, no, don't fight, you're gonna hurt yourself, let me protect you, and then they like die because they didn't let the other person help. Yeah. Whereas this one, Trevor's like, nice shot! Like, like they work together. They're a team, and they understand the abilities of the other. Yeah. So I think that also is just a really, really great relationship within the story to see them fight together.
My God, is it great to be a Castlevania fan. When you play more games, you'll understand why I'm geeking out, but there are so many references in monsters and creature design and weapons in this series, and especially this season. Like, we start with skeletons, then we see like the flea men bounce around, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's great.
Yeah, well, I've only ever played Castlevania Adventure Rebirth.
Yeah.
So I have seen the flea men, I have seen the skeletons.
Yes. Oh my God.
I like what they did with the
cross.
Gurgoth.
Gurgoth is in this. When you see Gurgoth, you'll be like, oh my God, it's that guy from season 4. And you'll hate him too. He's one of the hardest bosses.
Was he the one with the laser mouth?
Yes.
Okay.
He's the one that breaks down the door, and I'm just like, if he uses the laser mouth, they're fucked. And he does, and I'm just like,
laser mouth.
Yes! Oh my God, it's great to be a fan when they use these things that you grew up with and they implement it, and they don't redesign it, they just like bring that thing to life.
I really like how they did implement Trevor using the different weapons that the characters get. Now, again, I can only base it off of the one game that I played, but like he gets the cross knives.
Yeah, basically the cross.
So, and it's like it behaves the same way as the cross does. He throws it and then it comes back like a boomerang, but it's shaped like a cross.
Yep.
Of course, the whip and the chain whip.
Mm-hmm.
The knives he does use. He throws knives.
He throws knives.
Did he have an axe?
No, that's the only one you don't see.
Okay.
You see holy water.
Yeah,
he's used holy water throughout the series. He's used the knives, the axe. He doesn't use the watch because that would be weird. Everything freezes. It's like that scene from Days of Future Past.
They just start the music.
Yeah.
So like
Alucard's shield.
Yeah, Alucard's shield, his sword, Saint Germain.
Yeah, Saint Germain.
They give him his original costume at one point.
We haven't even covered Saint Germain.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great characters.
Yeah, there is a lot going on, and like they pack it into 10 episodes, and like it's surprising how it all works, especially in the end, because I was concerned.
Yeah,
I was concerned.
So for you, it was Alucard hurting humans first of all, like, and by the end of season 3, that he kills the
going
two
so
people.
far as to stake them outside his house.
And then
this was triggered because on my old channel I did a review, and this is one of the few times I was triggered. But no, this memory like was brought up because I said, well, how do we go forward? Are we going to copy a game? Mm-hmm. And Phil said, well, maybe Alucard is the next Dracula. And I'm just like, interesting. And I thought about it, and immediately I said, no, I hate it. It's an awful idea. It's everything against Alucard. Alucard is the Quasimodo. Just because you look like a monster does not make you a monster.
Yeah.
So to have him regress and act like a monster bothers the shit out of me, because that is not the character I grew up with.
See, and my argument to that, this was one of our big disagreements.
Yes.
My argument is it's such a short period of time to tell the story that they had to show Alucard fall into some sort of darkness, some sort of negative view.
Okay.
So that way when he rises up, like he does in this show, he saves an entire village.
Yes.
He semi-reluctantly welcomes them into his home.
Yes.
And by the end, he builds a village for these people.
Yes.
And wants them to be a part of his life. So without seeing him fall, that rise is less impactful.
Okay.
So it's less, for me, for the storytelling.
I feel like the fall could have been executed differently.
Yeah.
But I do agree with like the fall and the rise.
Whereas
because there's just a point for me that Alucard does not cross.
Yeah.
And that is killing humans. He can not trust them. He can turn his back on them.
But
He can leave them. But he should not kill them.
And that's like, that was the big thing for you. But my only
it
justification
went further,
for that
at the
was
start
to
of
see
this,
him.
there were more bodies staked. I'm just like, this is not Alucard.
Yeah. Which they bring that up. You know, she's like, you're the creepy ass castle with bodies staked to the front. And he's like, yeah, about that. Like, he doesn't feel good about it. He's not like, yeah, I'll do it again too. Like, you and your whole village. He's just like, yeah. So like you see him develop.
Reception for that season wasn't so good for me.
You see him develop rapidly because he has to. There's so much going on. They don't have time to give him 4 or 5 episodes to watch his development slowly. So they had to develop him rapidly, and I feel like that was probably the best way they could do that. Because you even see it right away. You see all these bodies staked outside, and then a body shows up riding a horse with a note taped to his hand. And he doesn't stake that body. He buries it, which is a dignified thing to do.
Yes.
So I think that right there we see him just,
the
that's the development right in that moment of him being like, god damn it. And then you see him bury this body. And then all of a sudden the bodies staked to the front are gone.
It'll take some getting used to. It doesn't help that I was.
And I have way more movies and books and things that I hate the adaptations to because it's not verbatim. So I respect your opinion to dislike it. But as a non-game fan right now, I think it worked.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll feel differently once I play the games.
Okay. Speaking of being wrong and being happy that I was wrong, Varney. Like, he's voiced by Malcolm McDowell, which should have been my first clue that, there's big things for this character.
I'm terrible at names, and Varney's whole character up to the very end is, don't they know who I am? Don't they know who I am? And after we watched an episode, you were like, man, I really hate the character Varney. And I was like, who's that?
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't know who it was. And you were like, the vampire guy that no one knows who he is. And I'm like, oh, I didn't do that on purpose, I swear. I just really didn't remember his name.
Because, another complaint of mine in Season 3, which I no longer have, because they address why in Season 4, is you have this character called The Judge.
Yeah.
He's just called The Judge. He's voiced by Jason Isaacs. A great character, a great actor, who's played some of the greatest villains like Lucius Malfoy. So
you're expecting him
and I'm just
to
like,
have,
oh my god, he's gonna be in a big part. That's why he doesn't have a name. He's called The Judge. He looks like another character from the games who is Death in disguise. Yeah. So I'm just like, here we go. We're finally getting Death, it wasn't.
He was just a predator.
Fucking predator. I'm like, there are no predators in Castlevania.
Not one.
Not one. Not one. I'm just like, why was that there? And I was so angry. And then we finally get the fool.
Yeah.
Death is the fool in disguise.
Right.
And that is brilliant because I did not see it coming. I knew that Death was that oracle in disguise. Yeah, I knew the one that was pushing forward Saint Germain. I'm like, I'll bet you that's Death.
I knew he was going to show up, but because I don't have the backstory of Death hides his other characters, I was just like, huh? What? But I knew he would show up eventually because he's in all the promotional artwork. Right. So I was like, he's got to be there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, because Carmilla dies in episode 6, and I'm just like, we got 4 episodes. Don't fucking tell me Varney's the one behind this all. I'll be pissed. He was, but I wasn't pissed.
Yeah.
Because he is Death, And he is great.
It was cool, yeah. It was a very cool transition to see, like, Varney, because he is such, like, a classic bumbling character. Mm-hmm. And then you see him, like, show up, and Saint Germain is doing this spell to try and resurrect Dracula, and Varney is just like, I want to use big words to sound smart, because you're smart. And then he's like, I don't even know you like that, bro. Stop it. Chill. And he's like, oh, really? Because we've been together for a long time. And then you see him transition into these characters to eventually death. And then you see Saint Germain go, oh, shit. Oh, no.
I'm not seeing my beloved.
I fucked up. He's like, I don't think this is the right thing to do. And then you see really death kind of, again, rapidly develop from, like, that bumbling idiot into, like, this big badass character.
Yeah.
Who's still kind of, like, bumbling in his own way.
In his way, but he's also
but
like,
he's a terrifying type bumbling.
He's like a scary dungeon master that is sick of everyone's shit and is just like, listen, I'm gonna fucking kill you all because you've been dicking around in this village for the past 5 hours.
Oh, you're so bitter about that.
You weren't there.
Just saying.
And I wasn't the dungeon master. If I was, that's exactly what was gonna happen. Oh, the little towns guy, turns out he's a lich, and he's going to fuck your shit up.
Fair enough. But anyway, that was a really, really cool thing to see happen, because you were pretty upset about Varney and the other character whose name I can't remember, but he was
Russian.
The Russian army vampire.
Because they were doing the Carmilla thing, where they're gonna talk and I'm like, no, I don't want another character that talks just to get their ass kicked. I'm sick of this.
But it, like,
do something.
But in the conversation they were having, Varney was basically like, meh, it is what it is. And the Russian vampire was just like, they forget what we are. He's like, I'm a winner and I'm gonna stay alive forever. Not realizing he's talking to death.
That's what makes the scene work.
Exactly.
And makes it so much better.
And it's like, we stopped right after that episode, so you were like, I fucking hate it. And I was just like, give it a chance, and it might be good. Like, but it does make that work, because even right after that conversation, the Russian vampire dies. Mm-hmm. Right after he goes, I am immortal, he gets stabbed through the heart by Trevor, and then he's like, oh, fuck, like, I'm not immortal. So I think that dynamic, after, like, thinking about it, that's the point in time in the show where I was like, something's up with Varney.
Okay.
Like, I didn't think that in the moment.
Yeah.
But after, like, pondering it and rethinking it, that should have been, like, the first clue.
Right.
Because of that conversation, that dynamic between those two characters, and then to see the other character immediately die.
Yeah.
So I think that should be, like, red flag.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the moment, but I'm also pretty dense. So...
But it brings me back to a very common complaint from season 2. Mm-hmm. And, like, I even brought it up in the review, is that, like, everyone's just sitting around planning on how they want to destroy the Belmonts and take over the world. And no one was doing it. And the reason was because Dracula was trying to kill himself. Mm-hmm. To which I said, do something. I'm trying to kill myself. What's your excuse? Yeah. Dracula has a reason why he's biding his time. Mm-hmm. This is a big suicide because he wants to die and take the world with him. Right. But more than anything else, he wants to be reunited with Lisa. Right. It makes sense. It works. Mm-hmm. This is just like, why are they just waiting and planning? Do something. Like, it would be like if Thanos never got the stones and the Avengers showed up and killed him on his throne. Imagine if after all these movies, the Avengers show up and kill him before he'd get the stones. Yeah. That's what it feels like when Carmilla goes before she's able to accomplish anything. And I was worried they were going to do that with Varney.
Yeah, I think that the reason it works for Carmilla is because she is so driven by hate.
Right.
Which is the same thing that happened with Dracula. He was so driven by hate of what happened to Lisa that it was his own undoing. It was his own destruction. And I feel like that was what happened with Carmilla. Right. She hated men so much. She says it all the time, which I'm just like, we fucking get it. Move along. Like, get over it.
Right.
But she says all the time, like, I take what I want. I take what I want. And you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just take what you want. It doesn't matter. And I think the voice of reason in that whole scenario is Lenore. Where she's like, it was always about being...
My heart can't take Lenore.
I know.
Oh my God.
It was always about being sustainable, being safe, being protected. And Carmilla uprooted that.
Yeah.
She threatened their safety and their protection. And we see that when... Striga, and I forget the other one's name.
I don't know. I could never understand what the fuck she was saying.
I like her as a character. I just don't remember her name.
She was just very quiet. Like, everyone, it was like, their audio levels were good.
Yeah, Striga and the other vampire woman, the other sister.
Yes.
Who's very, like, diplomatic. But they're out in the fields at, essentially at war.
And they realize they could be doing this for the rest of their lives.
And that's the moment where they're like, we don't like what Carmilla is doing. Yeah. We're not for this planet. It threatens us. It threatens our safety, and it threatens our way of life. Yeah. So, and that's where we start to see the undoing of Carmilla, because...
And the building of Isaac.
Yeah.
The binding of Isaac. The blinding of Isaac. Binding of Isaac? It's a game. I'm trying to get the title right.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But... That's why I like that Carmilla died before she could do anything. Okay. Because her entire support system crumbles. Okay. Because that's the way that, like, a structured leadership works. Yeah. So if you have a leader that you can't trust or follow, it's not gonna work. Everything's gonna crumble, it's gonna fall apart, it's gonna cause division. Like, look at modern politics, this is what happens.
That's what I was thinking of, but I'm like, I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, I get you.
I mean, regardless of anything else. Gotcha. But, like, that is just the structure of how things work. So, in contrast, we see Isaac. Mm-hmm. So, and this is why I love Isaac so much, is from the very beginning, he's hell-bent on revenge. Yes. He wants nothing more than to kill Hector. He wants to bring Dracula back. He wants to kill humanity. Like, and he's, like, the type of crazy in that season where you're like, oh, shit, like, he's gonna do this.
Yes.
So in...
Because he has an army.
Yeah. He starts
Nobody has a
army.
Hulk.
No one has a Hulk, and no one has a jar of dirt. So we are all screwed. But so we see Isaac start to grow into, like, that hatred-filled role. And then come season 4, we see him develop more. So we have the previous philosopher that's like a fly.
Yes.
Does it open with that discussion between the two of them?
That is his first scene. Okay. That is Isaac's first scene.
So the first scene that we see with Isaac, he's talking with this philosopher, and essentially the philosopher is asking him, like, why are they rebuilding the city? Why are they burying the dead? He goes, we're night creatures. We're monsters. We eat rotten flesh. So essentially, like, he's making them bury what they see as food, as sustenance, and they are rebuilding when they are so used to only being able to destroy. Yeah. So it kind of brings up a question to the viewer, like, what's going on? What is he plotting? Because, like, the last time we saw him, all he wanted was to destroy everything. So now,
people were so fucking rude.
Right. So now he's rebuilding. He's turning these creatures into something that they are so unaccustomed to. Yeah. And he keeps going, baddie. Like, do you want a baddie? Try a baddie. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying berry, by the way, like a blackberry. Baddie.
Betty.
And then when this night creature eats the berry, he goes, see, you didn't die. You're fine. You'll remember your past life of what it's like to eat berries, not rotten flesh. And
he says, I can't own that.
Yeah, he said, I can't own something that can remember its previous life, that can enjoy multiple things. And essentially, we start to see Isaac...
That line made me go like, oh, we're going places. We're transcending stereotypes.
That whole conversation was just... I have goosebumps thinking about it. It was just so beautifully done. Because we see in that instant that he has changed. Yes. He has changed as a person, and he's building the respect of his army. So he's saying, you are worth more than just destruction, than just rotting flesh. Mm-hmm. You are not...
He forgives Hector.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was a great scene.
Yeah, I definitely thought he was going to kill him. But
I thought he was going to either kill Hector or Lenore. Yeah. Like, right then and there.
But we see Isaac march in through Carmilla's castle, and Hector and Lenore are there. And again, his whole arc is kill Hector, bring Dracula back, and destroy the world.
And he transcends that. He transcends the revenge plot.
And he, like, I'm probably misquoting it, but the line he says, revenge is for children, and it's time we grow up.
Basically.
And it just, like, it hits so hard because you see someone that their whole purpose that you know them as is to kill, destroy, revenge. Yeah. And
that's all he is in the game.
And then to watch them grow and be like, we're more than this. Yeah. We need to look for the future. We need to get over it. Yeah. Like, we need to stop this whole revenge path and just get over it. And Hector is basically like, I want to atone for my sins. I want to make right what I did wrong. And he goes, you've already suffered. So it was like the whole point of why Hector...
but I gotta cut off this goddamn finger.
Yeah, he cuts his finger off, and I was like, oh, shit. So, and it's like you see almost a friendship grow in that moment of, like, Hector doesn't understand for a moment why. It's almost like he doesn't feel he deserves to get off scot-free in this situation. And Isaac really sits down and is like, listen, this is the game plan. And he's like, Dracula needs to rest. He deserves rest. He doesn't want to come back. Like, don't bring him back. It's time for us to move on from Dracula. And that's the moment where you're like, oh, is Dracula gonna come back? Like, are they actually gonna succeed in bringing him back?
Yeah.
And it's just really, really wonderful character development for both of them, in my opinion, because you see both of them grow from fear and hatred and revenge to something better.
Yep.
So, and I really, really like that. I think I just rambled for pretty long. But go ahead.
So was there anything we didn't like in this season? Because, like, I had my grievances with season 3, but this one was mostly positive. I can only think of, like, a single character that I didn't like. And, like, it wasn't Varney. It was this, Zarnay?
Oh.
Zarafay?
Yeah, the Z character was the black woman that was, like, the guardian of the royal family
and she
and,
was
like,
insane,
the underground.
but kind of abusive. We were kind of doing the judge thing again.
Yeah. I don't think that she was all that memorable.
No.
I almost feel bad for her. I feel like if they would have made her younger, it would have been more...
Like a kid?
Like a teenager.
Okay.
So like a younger teenager, because the way that she behaved was very much teenager tossed into a role that they don't know how to do.
Okay.
So it's like, essentially her people were like living in squalor. They were digging latrines too close to the food. They were getting sick. They didn't know how to care for themselves.
Okay.
And she is just like...
Right.
Oh, well. And it's like, to me, like, her whole thing was, I have to protect the royal family. So it's the underground. I have to protect the people underground. And to me, that's not like an adult thought process.
Okay.
An adult would be like, well, let's bring these people underground. 2 birds, 1 stone. Boom, there it is. Whereas a teenager would be like, fuck those people. They're not my responsibility.
Right.
I have to protect these people. But I almost feel bad for her.
Okay.
I didn't like her all that much. Like, I'm not attached, but...
I was just kind of like, meh.
Yeah. I would say the one thing that bothered me was the body had 1 boob.
Oh, the Reapus.
Yeah. It was just an annoying design. I was just like, it has 1 boob. It's not symmetrical. I just like, give it 2 boobs or no boobs. Yeah, I had like a Death the Kid moment. Like, symmetry. Like, it just annoyed me. I mean, it wasn't like a make or break. I'm not like, oh, the season was terrible. The body had 1 boob.
Nah, overall, I was impressed. It was very good. If this is the end, it's a hell of an end.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we're going to have that spin-off or if it's just going to, like, fade to dust and we're just moving on to Devil May Cry. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
It ended
I loved
very good.
Almost all of the
teared up.
characters.
Oh my God.
I flicked a tear.
Lenore. Oh, Lenore.
That was so sad. Lenore ends up killing herself. In a very, like, Lenore kind of way.
Yeah, kind of like, I'm done with this. I can't move forward. Sorry, Hector. I can't just put up with this. And then she just,
like, I want to see what's the hype about the sunshine. And she, like, walks out onto the deck.
Oh, my God.
And the sun rises, and she goes, this is all it is. And then she just dies!
She turns to look at Hector instead of looking at the sun.
I know.
That is such a beautiful moment.
It is. Well, it's also really symbolic. Like, he was the sun in her life.
Yeah.
She didn't need the sun because she had Hector.
Aww.
I'm just like, sadness. But yeah, I really look forward to kind of diving more into some of these characters.
We thought Trevor was dead. I bought that for a
whole
moment.
I was really sad.
Like, it works with the story.
Yeah.
Like, his story ends after defeating Dracula with the games. So, like, he dies eventually because a new Belmont takes up the mantle. Right. Belmonts don't really have visible parents that show up.
Like, he dies fighting death, but he knows he's gonna die because he tells Sypha not to name the baby Trevor. Trevor. And then he dies, and it's real sad. And then, like, at the very last moment, this horse shows up with a body on it, and it's fucking Trevor.
Yeah.
And he's alive. Sypha's like, I'm gonna kill you.
She's like, you're a bastard. I know. And I love you. I know.
I know. It's so great.
Got some Han Solo in there.
Yeah.
Nah, I think, again, my only, like, little nitpick would be, like, I wanted one more Bloody Tears moment where, like, another song from the series just plays during that showdown with like Gurgoth.
Yeah.
Or just like the final battle with Death.
I really liked how in season 4
maybe Dance of Illusion.
They kind of remind us how badass Alucard is as well.
Oh,
like he's turning into like flocks of bats. Do they travel in flocks? I don't think it's called a flock.
Swarm.
A swarm?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think there's
He like bursts into a grouping of bats. Like the white wolf.
Yep.
He
warps a lot.
Yeah, so you get to really see like how cool he really is.
Yeah.
So, and he's one of my other favorite characters that I really love. It's Alucard, Isaac, and
Oh,
Sypha
another thing. You
like
reminded me with the Alucard. So we have Greta Dynasty, who is basically like kind of Grant Dynasty, because in Dracula's Curse, there were 4 characters. Trevor Belmont, Sypha Belnades, Alucard, and Grant Dynasty.
Okay.
And Warren Ellis have said, I hate that fucking character, I'm not using it. Which makes no sense. It's an 8-bit character. He's part of the story. You could do whatever you want with him. He's just a pirate whose family was murdered by Dracula. That's it.
See, though, I can understand.
But he had such a hate boner for 4 seasons.
So, I can understand, though, because like I said, when you explained that in the beginning, there's a spoon downstairs in the drawer that I hate for no reason. It is a spoon, but I hate it, and I won't use it. So, I get it. I would use a fork.
So, yeah, we couldn't have Grant, but we have Greta. I liked Greta, but I would just be like, well, guess this is the close we're getting to Grant, I guess.
I think Greta was, again, one of those characters that just pushes Alucard to develop.
Yes.
Because she's not exceedingly active. Like, you see her just protecting her people.
Right.
You see her
She's
just
there to
really,
develop Alucard because Alucard fucked up and pissed off the fan base in the 3rd season.
Yeah.
So we have to develop him
like
so people aren't as pissed as I was.
But like you said, he's the Quasimodo character. So
yes.
even like at the very end, he's sitting at the bench and he's like, I don't know if I can have these people here. And she's like, don't joke. We know these kids call you dad. We see you playing with them. And he's like, oh shit, you weren't supposed to see that.
Oh my God.
So it's like, she's there to expose Alucard's want for a family.
I keep trying to wrap this up, but you keep bringing up other scenes. Like when he goes, boo, with the kids.
So
like he's
cute.
standing over there and he just
he jumps off the roof and like floats above them and he goes, boo. And they all start giggling and I'm like, oh, that's so wholesome. I love it. But she really pushes him to show him like he is a person. He is not a monster. He might be a vampire, but he's not a monster.
Yeah.
And the people love him.
Yeah.
Like he is a very lovable character.
And like they got to it eventually, but that is the point of Alucard.
Yeah.
He looks like a monster,
but he's not.
So,
and I feel like it's more impactful after he pulled the bodies down.
Fine. After staking the goddamn bodies, it's more impactful. Even though he never had the need to do it in the original canon.
Because did you notice, though, that when the place he jumps off the roof to scare those kids are standing where the bodies were staked.
Yeah, they're not.
So
they're
it's
not
like
anymore.
they weren't there when the group shows up. He took them down before he went to bring the people. But that's supposed to show like there were once dead stake bodies that he pissed on there, and now there's a group of little kids that he obviously cares about.
Yes.
So it shows that development.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's an easy out. Mm-hmm. So.
All right.
But anyway, this is one of our longer videos. As you can tell, we really enjoyed season 4.
Season 4, yeah.
And I would say overall, the whole show in general, I really, really liked.
Yeah, I did too. I hope you're looking forward to playing some more Castlevania.
Yeah, I am. I know it's going to be different. I know they're different things.
Yeah, they're not going to be as heavy on the story.
And that's fine. I really enjoyed playing the one that I did play. It took me a long time, but it was fun. So, thanks for sticking in with us.
Yeah, and we have more Castlevania videos, both
more
from
content.
The games and the series to come.
Absolutely.
We just started planning, so it'll be a while, but they're coming.
So if you enjoyed it, let us know.
If we were to rank this, though... Like, do we want to rank the season or the series?
For me, I would definitely say this season, it's a part of the family all the way. I really enjoyed nearly every aspect of this season. The series as a whole, I would say it's sleeping at the foot of the bed with potential to be a part of the family. Yeah. Like, it's the night before it becomes a part of the family, and it's sleeping at the foot of the bed.
I agree.
So it's like right there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let us know what you thought of Castlevania down in the comments below. And if you liked it, what was your favorite part? Who's your favorite character? And yeah, Thanks for watching.
What more Castlevania things would you like to see from this channel?
Because we like it.